When we talk about French food and up through the middle of the 20th century, we're not talking about the food that French people eat.
Black cooking and Southern food were pretty synonymous for almost a few hundred years because African Americans were the ones doing the cooking in both Black and white contexts.
French food, as we think of it, was what the international well-to-do elite people ate.
For the enslaved workforce, in the morning you would wake up and you would get basically a trough filled with crumbled cornbread and buttermilk. People had to eat with their fingers.
What most people ate most of the time was a one-pot meal, which had some combination of carbohydrate and a little bit of meat and vegetables. And that was true across Europe. And that was eaten with a lot of bread.
And then in the midday, that was the big meal. And again, that trough was washed out and filled with seasonal vegetables, maybe some meat, some smoked, salted, or dried pork, or fish even to season those vegetables. And then at the end of the day, you had the leftovers from that midday meal. That was during the week.
I went to stay in France the first time in about 1955. And essentially, there was no difference between the food that the French I encountered ate and the food I ate growing up at home.
White people and Black people of the same socioeconomic class in the same place were pretty much eating the same foods. Not together, because of the racial etiquette of the time with segregation and other things.
There were small differences. The French had coffee for breakfast, whereas the British had tea. French loaves were long and round, and British loaves were short and square. But boiled potatoes, a little bit of meat.
For the Jews of Eastern Europe, meat was eaten once a week on the Sabbath and at holidays. The rest of the week was herring and potatoes and noodle dishes and some, a little bit of pickles and bread.
I mean, if you go back and look at what enslaved people were actually eating, it was pretty much seasonal vegetables and water. So the things we think of as soul food today, that was special occasion food or food for the weekends. That was not the regular diet.
What happens when Jews come to America, the Golden Land, is meat becomes affordable.
Now, when you got to the weekend, when the work schedule slowed, that's when African Americans were allowed to hunt, fish, and do other things to supplement their diet.
It takes on a new importance in the immigrant diet and becomes a food of status.
And on some occasions, especially holidays, then they would get access to the food that the enslaving family would have. So they would get the nice, the fried chicken with the nice white breads, flour, things with sugar in it.
You can afford to eat chicken on a regular weekday. This is incredible that it's not a food save for the Sabbath.